did everybody get the schedule go around? Awesome. Oh, you didn't? Oh, there you go. We're gonna have one more schedule. Is there another schedule? Yeah. Oh, no, I got it. Thanks. We'll have these guys right here. Well, welcome back. Welcome to Montpelier. Good to see everybody this morning. The programs in the morning, what we start with is just a round of introductions, and then we get into the schedule and a little bit of the culture of the expeditions. So for introductions, go ahead and introduce yourself as your name, where you're from, a little bit about your background, your preferred pronouns, and what you're trying to get out of this week, and then also a place that is meaning to you. And this gets into the power of place, which is something you're going to find this week has a lot of significance, not only for this space that we're in right now, but for the sites that we're working on and the sites you're going to be exploring with the crew. So I'll go ahead and begin. I'm Matt Reeves, Director of Archaeology here at Montpelier. I've been here since 2000, and prior to that, I worked for the National Park Service, worked for Jefferson Patterson Park, did work all over Virginia, Maryland, and went to graduate school up in Syracuse and did my dissertation field work in Jamaica, looking at two early 19th century settlements of enslaved Jamaicans, and one in a coffee plantation, the other on a sugar plantation. And that's where I first started to, where I lived in a very rural location in Jamaica, and the area where I lived was, where I did the excavations, was the land was owned by descendants of the enslaved. So that's where I first did, descendant-based, community-based archaeology, and that really, just hooked me onto that and became a career changer for me. For me, I'd say for this week, I'm really excited because we're going to be at the end of the week. We're going to be doing an open house and be doing oral histories this week on this building, the old Montpelier store. And so we've been, for the past little under a year, we've been looking towards opening this space and making it usable, and then also seeing how the community fits in with all this. So this is a super exciting week for all this to happen. But a space that is meaning to me, I have to say, is my house in Orange. We've been there for in October will be 25 years. And my kids grew up there and just always doing projects there. Right now, a favorite space in that house is my bathroom. Sounds bizarre, but we're making the porch into a bathroom. And there's bits of wood that I was able to establish in the old lab for the windowsill. So there's a lot of area that's locked in. So. Oh. Good morning. No, thank you. Morning, everybody. Iris, you get your bag right here. There you go. Come on in. You have a seat. Yeah, anywhere. Yeah, be fine. Good morning, Kate. How are you? Is Madeline coming along too? She's probably in. Oh, nice. All right. Yay. Good morning, Madeline. How are you? Yeah, grab a seat. And you get your bag. All right. So it looks like we've got a full quorum now with everybody. We're waiting to see about Mariah and Jewel and Raquel. Is Raquel coming? I don't know.
Are they here?
Huh? No, they weren't. From New York. Oh, okay. Maybe they'll be arriving a little bit later. So, but we're just starting the introductions, and I'd introduced myself, and basic introductions, like I was saying, is name, where you're from, a little bit about your background, and then a place that has meaning for you. And so I was just finishing up and talking about a place that has meaning was my bathroom. Because we just renovated that. And like I said, I've been using, different pieces of wood from different parts of my life, in those renovations. And, so it's got a lot of me in here. And last year, my son was in between jobs. So for about 2 months, he helped me like 2 or 3 days a week on that project. So. And Gaines came over and periodically inspected it to make sure it was going right.
You
So.
can never sell it, then. You've got all your life.
I know, we don't want to. We want to be moved out of the boxes, so. And we'll go ahead and go to you next.
I'm Teresa Haney. I'm originally from Orange, but I live in the Falls Church and I retired from the federal government. I have a place in Madison now and it was built in 1932, I think. And so there's trash heaps behind it. So I'm always digging in my trash heaps and seeing what I find. And happened to run across this course and thought it'd be something fun to do. I served in the Congo for 4 years and I really loved the Congo. So that's one place.
That's amazing. And you're playing the thing here is that you're Gaines's older sister.
Yeah.
So.
Gaines is my brother. And Gaines, he has our grandfather's name, our grandfather. He was named after our grandfather.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I learned more about Gaines last night.
I know, and I'm probably gonna be on the rack for that one. Probably try to keep it secret.
And Gaines is doing all the renovations here at the lab here, but then he did renovations 20 years ago at Arlington House and at the lab that recently burned, so.
And he's a master because he's got 2 houses here on Main Street. If you go up Main Street, he's got 2 houses between domes.
They're beautiful. Gaines is amazing, works good. Our department is how it is because of Gaines, so. Thanks for being such a good sister.
Yeah.
Whatever you did.
Well, I don't know. You'll see if he says that.
Joanne.
Good morning. Excuse me, my hearing too well. Just feel like I'm family here, because I'm out here all the time, and I like to do the volunteer work, I like digging, which I used to like it anyway, ain't do it much anymore. I just enjoy being around everybody because I feel like we're family here. I live in Orange County. I grew up in New York, lived in Puerto Rico, my children were born there, but always come back home. I don't know anything about this building, because I didn't live around here and I was young when I left here. But like I said, Orange County, this is where I was born and raised. I'm a member of the Orange County American Historical Society, a member of the MDC, which is the Montpelier Descendants Committee. And I'm a volunteer for Senior Medicare Control. That's basically it. Yeah, it's good meeting all of you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jen Janowski. I'm a public historian. I work at Rowan University, which is located in South Jersey. I teach classes in public history, American material culture. I'm also the director of Red Bank Battlefield Park and the co-director of their archaeology program. So it's a revolutionary war battlefield site. I got into this about 3 years ago. We were working on an archaeology project at the battlefield site when we inadvertently recovered a mass burial from the war, from the Battle of Red Bank. And so since then, we use that as an opportunity to grow a public archaeology program at Rowan University. I'm a co-teacher of our field school, which is coming up in 2 weeks. I work very closely with Wade Katz, who's our project archaeologist, who's been an excellent mentor, and I got the bug, I guess. As you probably know, historians are snobs, and they don't love working with the archaeological record, but I do. And so it's been really fun learning more about how the discipline works, and I'm hoping to learn more this week because I've always been on a battlefield site. So I'm really excited to learn more about and learning from different archaeologists about how we all work. And I guess a place that has meaning for me is we have a cabin in northeastern Pennsylvania where, despite all of our life moves, that was always the place that we've had the longest. My kids are now, and they're off in college, and it's where they had their first nosebleed, knocked out their first tooth, caught their first fish. Had their first high fever, and we actually are knocking it down because it's no longer functional. It's always been like a 2-season place. I know. very painful to leave that slamming screen door for the last time. But now that we're empty nesters, we want to be up there year round if we can. So, but yeah, we took many elements of past, including the height chart, from it. So, yeah.
Well, I'm Iris Ford, and I actually lived here in Montpelier until I was about 4. And then we moved to New Jersey. I'm gonna let my cousin Madeline talk about, the Jacksons and all that. I am a retired anthropologist, so I did a lot of applied anthropology on the west coast of Africa, different places, and on the east coast of Africa. And then in my 40s, I was recruited to come down and teach at St. Mary's College in Maryland. I got 2 ex-students here. And so that was my second career, but I really loved it. My favorite place in the world, I'm an Anglophile. I'm not sure why I'm an Anglophile. But I really am, but I love Jane Austen.
Yes.
I don't know why. Madeline's mother gave me the Jane Austen collection. Maybe I was 17 or 18 or whatever. And I thought, I don't want to read this, it's Black Power. And I'm reading Jane Austen. And so I have to read it, I gave it to me. And so every year I'll read Jane Austen. Same stories over and over again. I cannot articulate what this place means to me, this store. Maybe by the time I do a history, I'll figure it out. But this whole region, this whole Montpelier area means a lot to me. Our grandfather worked over on the campus, and my entire life, I think, has been guided as a result of my experiences here at Montpelier.
That's cool. Thanks, Sarah.
What's your favorite Jane Austen book?
Well, I have to tell you, I like Pride and Prejudice best.
I'm Linda. I'm from Detroit, and I'm a first-year grad student in downtown Detroit at Wayne State. And I am looking forward to getting back in the swing of things. I've been doing urban archaeology for the past year since I left in Detroit, and yes, I'm ready to be back here. I would say my place is, has anybody ever been to the area in the Mojave with Slab City, Bombay Beach, and the Salton Sea? Yeah, it's over there. It's a very strange, weird place, but I think it makes you grow up a lot and you learn a lot about people and yourself out there. So it holds a special place in my heart.
I'm the street building on the public archaeologist here. What that means is I basically help Matt run public programs, do some public outreach. And I'm originally from Silver Spring, Maryland. Went to JMU for undergrad and then went to William Mary for law school, practiced law for 20 years. I'm a career switcher, fell in love with archaeology, eventually came to field school here and then never left. And so it's a great place to learn archaeology. It's a great place to learn about yourself as well. And so my power place would be my backyard. So I've been there kind of like Matt for 20+ years. And over time, my wife and I have done a lot of landscaping in the backyard, built a lot of gardens, spent a lot of time out there, including all this weekend. And it's just a very special and peaceful place. But also one of the things that's nice is I have 3 kids. They're all grown and have moved on with their lives. Which is a good thing. But sometimes when we're working the garden, we'll find little toys and stuff that got buried, and it's a little memory of them being there. And then this weekend in a wrinkle, well, digging in one corner of our backyard, we started to find some architectural material that was buried. And so I was texting with Chris about it over the weekend, so we'll see what that leads to again.
Hello, my name is Davina Hopkins. I grew up here in Orange County. I'm a dancer by trade, so I hate public speaking. But yeah, I grew up here, went to college in New York City, and then professionally there with Alvin and dance theater. I was in the revival of Oklahoma on Broadway and did some freelancing work in the city. I came back after COVID or right before COVID. I teach at the local dance studio that my uncle owns right on Main Street. We've been there for 30 years. I teach at UVA in their drama department, teaching dance there. And I'm really split between this power place, but my heart is with at the dance studio where a lot of my childhood memories are. And but also in the canopy of these trees around here. Yeah, it's very connection to it.
I'm Lisa Latoe from Sacramento, California. This is my second time here. I think I was here maybe 2 years ago. Years ago, I came with my mom, had so much fun, learned so much, like dragged my husband along with me this time. I worked for the California Senate for about 25 years, worked on environmental policy and public safety. I retired. I'm now studying anthropology, having fun, learning so much. I think maybe my favorite place is we have a cabin up in Lake Tahoe. And it's not too far from our house, but I just like going there, blue skies, clean water, pine trees, and just John and I are kind of both from that area and wanted kids to have opportunity to experience that place as well. So happy to be here too.
Hello, I'm John. We recently retired also, spent about 30 years in the healthcare industry. Let's see, what else? Lisa stole my favorite place, is actually grew up in the top of the mine spot. I'll admit that, both my parents came from France. They came from little farms in the south of France, and when we were younger, we'd go back every year. So whenever I go back to their farms, I feel like it's a very special place. So, and especially for my father who passed away a few years ago, so going there and showing the kids is special. So it's fun.
Hi everyone, my name is Chris Patch. I'm the field director here. I use he, him pronouns. I've been here since 2017. Started out in tech. I was crew chief after Liz went to grad school. And then I've been field director since 21. Before that, I worked at historic St. Mary's City, which is a 17th century museum next to St. Mary's College, where Liz and I both went, and Dr. Ford was my very first professor. But in 2009, spring, 8 a.m. Good start. But let's see, favorite place. I guess that's a long time ago. I was reminded of it just thinking about the oral history portion of the program later this week and sort of family stories. And I remember when I was a little kid at Thanksgiving, we'd walk into my grandma's house. It was a very small house, and way too many people there. All the kids, like just the living room was all with air mattresses, all of the cousins sleeping on it. If you got the couch, you're lucky. But I couldn't sleep. I almost had issues sleeping, so I would wake up when my grandma woke up when it was like 4:30 in the morning. And I would go and talk to her in the kitchen as a little kid and listen to her stories. And she grew up on a farm in Bogan, Alabama, and just so that Frank, she would plan her day. But anyways, I'm excited for this week and happy to see returners here, new people, and
Hi, everybody. I'm Liz McCaig. I'm the archaeology lab director here at Montpelier. I got to Montpelier in 2015 after graduating from St. Mary's College of Maryland, where Dr. Ford was my professor. I did the field school here, stayed on as a technician, stayed on as a crew chief. And then I left in 2018, 17, I don't know, 18, thank you, to go to grad school, at University of Maryland, where I got my master's in 2020 and, in anthropology, and I'm working on my PhD in anthropology. My dissertation research focuses on, Black expertise and labor in the equestrian industry at Montpelier. So it's a process that I'm working through. I'm currently dissertating, writing the dissertation, collecting some more data for the dissertation while I'm writing, and doing some oral histories for the dissertation. This week is really important to me to learn from all of you, and yeah. I've been back at Montpelier since 2023. Yep, and years are hard. And I'm still dissertating, but working as the lab director now. Before coming to Montpelier, I did work in the Gambia, North Africa, and Jamaica, and around Southern Maryland plantation sites. So really just excited to be here and learn with you all, and looking forward to it.
I'm Corderell. I'm one of the field technicians. Cheaters. I came here in the 2023 field school with Steve. And I haven't been able to get rid of me since. Favorite place currently, I've been thinking about my college in Salem, Oregon, at University. We just had like a little mill stream going, cutting through campus. And it was always a really nice place to sit when you're like tearing your hair out in the final. Especially when like the cherry blossoms are blooming and you've got all the ducks and the geese. And like once the sun starts setting, it's like a really nice place in your first sky. So I've been thinking about that a lot.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Smith, the air technician. I originally started out in retreat archaeology in the Great Lakes on British and French military garrisons. Came down from Virginia in 2023. Really got interested in archaeology in the diaspora. I have some research interests in ceramic usage as well. And going back to think special place for me is definitely in Shenandoah. I got up there a couple of weekends ago. Graves Mill Trail, if anybody's familiar with it. If you hike all the way up the mountain, you get to Brad Van Camp Road, I think, and then you just kind of go off trail. You can really get lost out there. It's very fun. Don't take your car up unless you have some back there. So that's a good experience.
Hi, I'm Dennis. I do the metal detecting surveys here. I grew up in Southern Maryland. I've lived in Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, California, multiple times in all those places. Started metal detecting when I was 9. I have a background in land surveying. I was an unexploded ordnance technician with the Army Corps. Came here in 2014, I guess, for a metal detecting expedition. Finished that up, volunteered for maybe a month, and then Matt made the mistake of putting me on the payroll.
No, I was like, Dennis, we can't afford to have you volunteer here.
So I've been digging, using metal detectors for 41 years. So that's part of my special place, with the detector in my hand.
What's the best thing you've done?
The list is long. I've got 148 gold rings.
Really?
I've got the Charles County, Maryland wax seal stamp from 1750, made out of silver. Hand carved, beautiful.
And you just found one?
Yeah.
Yep. And you were able to keep it?
Yeah, I had permission from the landowner. It's in the middle of an old road.
He didn't say do over?
No, most people don't really see it and appreciate it, like, you know, the crazy guy that goes out looking for it every day.
Did you grow up in Charleston?
Indian Head. That's why I got into unexploded ordnances, because the EOD school was there. So, yeah, I was a land surveyor in Leonardtown. So I did all around the college down there and everywhere. all the way down to Point Lookout. Uh, my special place is pretty much where I'm working. I can't explain how I get into trying to sight read visually, and then with my metal detectors to try to figure out exactly what's going on. You know, it turns in from a field of flags into hopefully where buildings and, you know, different uses of the property were by digging samples and investigating. I just get a kick out of it. So me coming to work isn't really like coming to work. I've been on vacation for 11 years now. Thoroughly enjoy it. So, you know, many people said I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, but that's it. So.
Hello, everyone. My name is Madeline Anglin. Iris's cousin. Our mothers were sisters. Let me see, what can I say about myself? I guess I'm retired. I'm a speech language pathologist. Worked always with children, pretty much in the pediatric setting. And currently I live more in Camp Springs area. And this area, I guess I moved here, so I'm told, when I was 6 months old. And then I lived here until I was 15. If I think of power of place, I probably have to think of this area of Montpelier. I mean, the house I grew up in is still there. It's not the same. There was a fire, when the people rebuilt it, it's not exactly as it was when we lived there. And then there are other smaller houses built all along on the property that used to be property that was ours. But I have a lot of really great memories because I grew up here. Lots of fun things, the store. I came to occasionally, the post office, I have a lot of memories of, including when, as one short story I'll say, when my brother and I guess, you know, were at an age where we did our own thing and didn't really want to listen. I remember we went to the post office, it was close to Christmas, and the postmaster came out to the car and told my mother, you know, I had this really large package here. So he brought it out and put it in the trunk. When we got home, we took it out, you know, and it said it was from the North Pole. Of course, we were still believing in Santa. And we opened the box, it was huge. All this paper, we went through all this stuff, and at the bottom was a note that said if we continued our behavior, this would be all we were gonna do. Growing up in a place like this, then everybody knows, you know, the postmaster's working with my mother, a whole process together, because everybody knew each other. So, you know, I do have those fond memories, and I guess my connection now is my back porch. Because I live in a community, but it is close to a park. I spend a lot of time there, and I spend a lot of time on my back porch because it's very quiet, and even though I'm on a street, we don't have much traffic at all. It's almost like being in the country. So.
Well, I have to say, Madeline knows all the back roads of Montpelier. So on our way to Arlington, our house yesterday, she said, we're gonna go this way. She makes up this right turn, and of course it says staff only. And she goes to, and there's a gate, and I thought there's a gate there.
Doesn't say that.
She knows the landscape. And by the way, my experience here is because of my aunt and the family that stayed down here. I came every summer. So I hung out with Madeline.
I'm Dan's with a Z, they, them, and I'm close to retirement and looking at citizen archaeology. There's a school in Illinois, I'm from Illinois, that their mission is to get the public involved in the digs. And they are looking at, pre-contact civilization occupation along the Illinois River Basin. So last year I spent a week of field school, at a site that was from maybe about 800 and just digging in the dirt, looking to see what we could find. My test pit was lovely. There was an intense fire, but no particular reason for it. There, no pottery, no, it wasn't for food, but I got to see other pits where, there's needles made out of bone and all sorts of pottery and the remains of post holes and such. And I love it. I love their mission that archaeology is for everyone. And I only get a week that I can spend to do something. So I was looking for something that was a week long. And I thought this is more accessible mentally because I can envision the people and how they're living. Whereas going way back, it was difficult, I was getting what I could from the readings and still it's hard to visualize like what does the house look like and what are their normal daily lives. So I thought this would be a nice change. And it's definitely a much beautiful location. It's not clay in the full sun. So I'm happy to be here.
It is clay, bad news.
Yes, but it's sun.
It's not a full
Yeah.
sun, it's in trees, so.
Yeah, and power of place, wow. My place right now is my front porch. I live south of Springfield, Illinois, surrounded by cornfields, but my place, some acreage with trees and a creek and a lot of family history from a previous family that we are in touch with. So their oral history has helped me understand the evolution of the land. And in a way, their family is my family. And it's just being there in the quiet, surrounded by wildlife. I love it.
It's cool.
And I intend on being there till they carry me out in a box.
Love it.
I'm Kate. I'm from Alexandria. I graduated from William Mary about this time last year, and then I came here for a field school with Amanda. And I stayed on for the internship, which ended last Friday, so now I'm back. And I think my power of place is going to be Colonial Williamsburg because I spent a lot of time walking down there, especially I started college during the pandemic. And so there wasn't a lot to do inside, so I spent a lot of time exploring the colonial area.
Cool. All right, thanks, Kate. And welcome back, Kate. So did everybody get the schedule of the hours? Did you anybody else need to go? All right, and Kate, everybody else got a copy? Cool. Well, what we'll do is we'll begin with the schedule, with the programs that we're doing this year. We've been experimenting with having like a 1 week and a 2 day, like having we focused programs. So we've been doing these programs for the past 20 years now. Actually, this spring in 2005 is when we started doing the Earthwatch programs in the front yard. And then we did that for about 2 years, and then 3 years, and then the economic collapse happened, and Earthwatch wanted to have even more of a share of the feed, and so it just stopped working out. And so we switched from 2 week to 1 week programs. That worked out a lot better for most people because most people don't have 2 weeks to take for a vacation. And we've been doing these. We've had changes through the years. We've obviously really focused on looking to find every aspect of research that we do. We try to find a way to make it into one that is participatory. So, and that's where the whole concept of citizen science comes in. And this year we started looking at all the different things that we're looking at, like with we're gonna be excavating a 18th century blacksmith shop, later on in the fall. Dennis is doing the survey on that now, and let me show you the metal detector surveys later this week. You all get a little taste of that and what Dennis is finding. But for example, we wanted to get a blacksmith out, and so we decided, hey, let's find, a local blacksmith, and Steve found a local gentleman who is, a fifth generation in his family blacksmith, and his, fourth great grandfather was enslaved at the plantation where the family blacksmith shop is today. So some just incredible heritage. He's gonna be doing a lunch and learn with us in 2 weeks, so definitely tune into that. It's gonna be, actually, we're gonna be filming from his blacksmith shop, or he's gonna be shoot some footage there, so it'll be interesting. And so with this week, we had the opportunity to work with the Montpelier Descendants Committee Oral History Collective, and Iris and Madeline are a key part of that. But you're the chair of that committee, right, Madeline? Or is there a chair of that
Oh,
committee?
there were three. It was
Oh, there
a
were three
three-way
chairs.
chair, but
Oh,
some
three-
sort of way.
Oh, she's
Smelled from the bottom of the chair.
But yeah, and when we started looking at, doing an open house and how to combine oral history, that's when we decided to make this into an archaeology and oral history program. And it's just perfect for this, because the oral histories we're doing this week are gonna be on this building, which was a community store. And we'll be learning more about that history of this building. Today, I'll give you all a tour of the building after the introductions. But in terms of looking at doing the oral histories, started talking with the committee, and it just made sense to have this be theme for the week. So Iris and Madeline and Rashida Curtin are going to be doing a lecture tomorrow at noon on oral history techniques. And I don't know if anybody's signed in over Zoom yet, or we're just, looks like we're recording to the cloud. So hey everybody, when you watch this recording later. But what we've done is we're doing these programs in a way so that people can be here for a week and do archaeology, but then have a 2-day focus on, the applied part of the program. In this case, this will be oral history. So we'll have more of a focus on some of the techniques and the practicum for that on Thursday and Friday of this week. But this week, we wanted to do some lectures and make them virtual so that folks that aren't here in the early part of the week can be part of that. So we're all guinea pigs on seeing how this works. And one thing that we do with these programs is, and those of y'all that are repeats know this, is we absolutely need your all's input. And so much of what we're doing with archaeology, especially community-based archaeology, there's not a lot of precedent for. And so we learn from folks that do the program. We want to, get that feedback. It's absolutely necessary. And a lot of the, what we've done with even designing these comes from people's feedback. Like a couple of years ago, we did a 2-day cooking program, and everybody was like, well, why didn't you do archaeology the first 3 days? We would have come early. And we're like, well, you've asked, we'll do it. So this, it's very iterative. It's a very iterative process with all this. And so one thing that we do, solicit from you all is feedback throughout the week. If there's anything that you all need throughout the week, let us know. I mean, these programs are designed, not ostensibly just to get work done, not in the case of this week, not just to do the archaeology, not just to do the oral history. A big part of this is, and a major part is your all's experience this week. So let us know what you all need. Everything from the particulars, if you've got a Zoom meeting you need to be in and you have no idea where we're going to do that, we'll get you set up in a space where you can do that meeting. If you, you need to be driven up to the site, let us know. If you've got something, you can't lift more than 10 pounds, let us know. Everything you need, just let us know. The saddest thing is to learn something at the end of the week, which we could have helped you out with on Friday, or on Monday at the beginning of the week. Today is Monday, so I'm having trouble with the time as well. So, But for the schedule, we'll go ahead and get into this. You'll see that, Chris has, divided you all up into MT units. And for those of you who don't know, MT units are excavation units, so that'll become clear as we go through the schedule, how that works. But, for Monday today, we're doing the power place right now, introductions. After, that, Liz is gonna do an artifact handling session, and while Liz is getting that set up, I'll give you all a tour of the building. You can see the different spaces that we're slowly moving into, and Gaines has been fixing up. And then after the artifact handling session, you'll head to the site. So you'll get in your cars, and one of us will lead you over to where the parking lot is, and get all your stuff into the gator, and we can get it up for the site. And then at 10:15, Chris will give you a tour of the North Yard, and the North Yard is where the site is located. So give you some site context, what archaeology has happened there, what pontificating has happened there, and there's no one better than that than Chris, because he wrote his master's thesis on that, on the North Yard of the temple. So he'll give you some insight into that area. And then after that, we'll give you the site orientation and site safety. And then soon after that, get into the units. So you all will be digging today. So you'll be in the units that we've already got started. And at the end of today, you'll all be doing a house tour. And we used to do that on Tuesday, but with the property being closed Tuesday and Wednesday, Monday is just the best time to do it. And if anybody doesn't want to do the house tour, it's whatever you all want to do. So but definitely if for the house tour, probably we'll see how muddy it is out there. We had a pretty good rain on Sunday night, so we'll see if if you need to change your shoes or going in the house. And then tomorrow we'll start, similar. You'll see the pattern here. We do tours in the morning to get you all started. We'll do the South Yard tour with Chris, and you'll meet at the South Yard for that, or the visitor center. Chris will let you know at the end of today. Probably the visitor center or that?
Either one, but look, it's comfortable.
Okay.
The various programs.
Yeah, all right, cool. And then after that, get right into excavations. And then at lunch, we're gonna come back here for the lecture on oral history with Dr. Ford, Madeline, and Rashida. And that'll be a combination, in person and then over Zoom as well, just like this is. And for that, if you have anyone who's interested in oral history and you want to have them sign in, that'd be fine as well. So, and that's another thing you'll see we're experimenting with these hybrid formats with this week. And one thing we're kind of excited about with this is to get folks involved in these programs that might not otherwise be able to be involved in doing this over Zoom. And we just got internet at the site. And so who knows, maybe we could also do like Zooms in the units as well. We'll have to see. So it depends how strong the internet is. So, let's see. And then after the lecture on Tuesday, we'll go back out into the field and do more excavations. Wednesday is going to begin today with Dennis talking about metal detector survey, what he's found up at the site for the blacksmith shop. And he'll talk about the techniques for doing metal detector surveys, then get into the excavations. And then at lunch, we're gonna again come back here and we're gonna be doing some the first session of world histories. And I believe hello, good morning. Hey.
Fresh off the road.
All right, how are you? Glad you all made it. So right in your bag. And Rachel, nice to meet you. So here you go, Rachel. And Joel, nice to meet you, Joel. Glad you made it. So, all right. And we were just going over the schedule here. So Joel, I'll give you some schedules to pass along. You can run the variety and also. Yeah, be great. Thanks. All right. And we'll take a break to have you all introduce yourselves. And yeah, for the introduction, Brian, you'll remember, do the your name, where you're from, preferred pronoun, your personal pronouns, and then a place that has meaning to you. So,
A place that means something?
yeah, place that has meaning to you, like getting into the power of place.
Oh, okay, my name is Mariah. This is my second year coming. I came with friends this time. I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised. A place that means something special to me. I guess I could say here. I think this has been a inspirational space for me. It's been like a career sparker for me. It has a very sentimental meaning now more than ever because it's been like a complete pivot from my previous career. And also, it has not only like accentuated the things I'm already doing, but I'm able to bring other people along with me on the journey. So super excited to share. Yeah. Okay, I think hi everyone, my name is Jules Champel. I'm from Brooklyn, New York as well, specifically Coney Island, which is in South Brooklyn. In a place that is special to me. A place that's special to me is my alma mater, Oregon State University. Really just a special collection space, just the history within that space and even just the different buildings that are housed on the campus. Because they're all, some of them are actually landmarks because they're a national treasure. So that is really special to me, mainly just the history that lies in those buildings and the connection I have to them, pretty much. And we're supposed to say what we do or?
Yeah, you can absolutely.
Okay, I'm a photographer and an archivist, that's mainly what I do, pretty much. I'm a fact technician as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel. My pronouns she, her. I'm from Jersey and a place that means something to me. I would say Cuba. Cuban, so when I go back to Cuba, I dance and like I, embrace the community and world identity. And I studied philosophy, I studied the Black being, and that's about it.
Cool. All right, well, thank you all, welcome. And we were just going over the schedule and what we're talking about is how this week we're combining archaeology and oral history. So the first 3 days through Wednesday are pretty much going to be, in terms of the field, we'll be focused on archaeology, and we'll be doing some on Wednesdays when we'll start with some of the oral histories back here at the building, and we'll be doing those. I think Henry's going to be coming down on Wednesday.
What did he say? I think Wednesday he's gonna do it virtually as a test,
Okay.
but then he's coming. I don't know if it's Thursday or
Friday. Okay, so, and for those of you that don't know, Henry is Madeline's brother. So, and so Madeline and Henry, we're gonna interview you all first on Wednesday. So you'll be in person and Henry will be over Zoom. And, yeah. So brush up on those stories.
No, what you'll say never happened.
Yeah, that's right. And that gets into the dynamic.
I know, right.
No, that wasn't your memories, right? It wasn't a Texaco, it was this. So, and then after, so we'll do the oral histories here, from 12, we'll see how long that goes, 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then after that, we'll do Liz will give you all a tour of the Mirror Distinction of Color exhibit. And then get back into the excavations for the rest of the day. And then on Thursday, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the day over at the train station with Wendy Ray, who's gonna be talking about some of the research that she's done, both of late 19th, early 20th century life in this part of Virginia, specifically focused on the Gilmore family. And so give you all a tour of the Gilmore cabin. And of course, that relates to all this area because this is all part of that, that corridor of history we're going to be looking at this week. And then on Thursday, we'll do shovel test pits. And shovel test pits are the little round holes that we dig when we begin a site to see, what sort of artifacts are there or how they concentrate. We'll get into all that, some of these survey techniques. And then after that, we're going to be doing a session with Jennifer Powers, who is in charge of the curatorial department here on handling historic documents. And this will become important for Friday in terms of some of the folks that might be arriving to, for the open house, might be bringing documents related to the historical, so. But, and then on Thursday, we'll do the group photo, on Thursday, we'll do more oral histories. There's actually, I think one of the other paintings, we'll have to see if they're related, is gonna be doing an oral history here. She's local, so who knows? I think, I can't remember, I need to look it up, but she's gonna be doing it over Zoom. And, I think, I can't remember who else is gonna be doing it over Zoom on Thursday, but we got a whole schedule for that. In fact, if you click on the, I think if you've got the link for this document in your handouts, I'll print out the schedule for tomorrow. Everybody that's being interviewed, so, yeah, Iris.
The schedule for tomorrow, the oral history training is 12 to 12:30. At first, I'd like to say it's really not a training because our training session is 2.5 to 3 hours. If you want me to do something for a half hour, I would say that's impossible.
That 12 to 1, I'm changing my schedule, and you also change your schedule.
To get it done from 12 to 1.
Okay, no, thank you, Iris, appreciate that, yeah.
No, it's okay if it goes over.
Huh?
It's okay if it goes over.
Yeah, and this is a schedule that's just to give us some order, but it changes all the time, like there'll be a rainstorm and then that day's schedule goes out the door. But this keeps us like on track, so, yeah. And here comes the train, so that felt the vibrations. And then, let's see, and then for Thursday, after the oral histories, we'll go back to we're gonna be doing lab work that day. And then for the 2-day dispense, that's when the house school happens in the afternoon. So, pretty much on Thursday, we'll start the morning with SDPs and then do trainings and then do lab work, probably for like 2 hours here, so. And then for Friday is gonna be the big day in terms of just like the week culminating, which we're really excited for. We're excited for all this week, but Friday is gonna be really special. We're gonna start with a archaeology memorialization tour. This is a site you were working on last year, Mariah. And that's gonna be looking at the burial ground, but also the memorial site and what we've learned about that site through archaeology last year. And then after that, we're gonna be doing more shovel test bits, because you can't get enough shovel test bits. It'll probably be only an hour each day, just given how the schedule goes. And then after that, we're gonna be coming back here for 11 o'clock to probably, get set up. We'll get set up for the open house. And we imagine that people are gonna probably start arriving early at 11. And we're gonna see how Friday goes. I mean, we have 2 oral history stations set up here. One's gonna be in Liz's office downstairs, the other will be upstairs. And I give you the tour right after this is done. I'll talk about some of those spaces and how we're gonna be using them. But I imagine that as people arrive, the open house is open to the public. So we've advertised it in the local newspaper, we've advertised it through various historical societies in town, been on Facebook. And so we're not sure how many people are gonna come. We're gonna be also doing it virtually over Zoom. So if y'all know anybody that wants to see what we're doing, send them the Zoom link. We can get that out to you all. But probably imagine that people are gonna start arriving. I mean, whenever we do something with the historical society, people start arriving 45 minutes early. And so people will be arriving early, probably have stories to tell even before we start doing the oral history. And so these are things that we'll get some background on with the lecture on Tuesday, but also just set up some strategies for, getting people's name and their number and telling them how they can get a hold of us to record their stories that they have later on, next week or in the future. And so one thing that we're really excited about this space is, all the other spaces that we've worked at are like a field. It's a grassy area. It's in the middle of the woods. back in the day, it was a tobacco barn. It was, a home for an enslaved family. It was a space that was a theater. And when people come and we're doing the archaeology, or more importantly, when visitors come to see it, they're like, oh, this is a grassy field. Do people have picnics here? It's like, no, this is someone's home, or no, this is where, enslaved farmers process tobacco. Well, this site right here, when you walk into this space, you can get the idea. There's a tin ceiling, there's all this shelving here. It looks like a store. I mean, for goodness sake, this front entrance right here looks like a store. And good morning, Bill. How are you doing? Good morning. Bill's one of our volunteers, and this kind of gets into this multifaceted space we've got here. Yeah, Bill just dropped in just like a customer would, to a store. But we know Bill is going to be coming here this morning. But we're really excited for Friday because it's going to be the first time that this space has been open to the public, probably since about 2004, when it used to be the visitor center. So it's going to be kind of a rebirth of this space. And it's something that we want to have you all experience, from, in some ways, getting the store set up to receive visitors, in a way. And this is what we're absolutely leaning into this space as a community space, not so much as a community center, but as a community spot where people would buy their groceries. And in this case, what our hopes are for this space in the future is that we'd have the money to staff it, especially on the weekends and during the weekday. So when people come by and they see the sign that it says open and free, because that's going to be our modus operandi, they put free out there, people are going to stop by. They'll learn about what this space is, more about Montpelier, and then more about what we do as a department. So it's going to be, it's the beginning of a long trajectory. And with what's happening on Friday, you all are going to be here for a week and know how we do our thing, how we do the excavations, how we do the shovel test pits, how we do the work in the lab, and then also know enough about this space to talk a little bit about it with people. So the Friday is probably going to be starting at 11 o'clock. Will probably be like, 2 hours of really intensive interactions with folks. And for those of y'all that have been on programs before, that's what we're all about. Is, it's more than just about archaeology. It's interacting with the public. And, for you all being here, when we talk to the public, they see our name tags and they're like, oh, they're being nice to us. But when you all are here for the week and you say, well, I'm from Southern Maryland and I'm here for the week doing archaeology, people are like, what? How do we do that? And so it makes a whole different dynamic. And it's something that I just can't say how excited we are for this week and have you all be part of it. I mean, and one thing that you've probably already gotten a sense of is that, there's no line here between staff and participants. Obviously this morning, you all are learning about, the schedule and what's going to be happening this week. But we're going to throw you all into the thick of it. You're not only are you all doing exactly what we're doing with what we're doing at the site, with excavation of the soil, screening of the soil, bagging the artifacts, identifying them. That's why we're doing an artifact identification session, a handling session this morning with Liz. So you'll know enough about it to know what's happening. Is that when visitors come to the site, we're going to welcome you all to talk to visitors, at the site and say what you all are doing, what your all's experience is, because that's as important as, what, like 20 years of archaeology is here. That, what you all are experiencing this week is something we want to have you all share with the public and with people. So Friday is going to be a whole interesting session that we're very excited about. And that the open house is going to go through we're expecting it to go through at least 1 to 2 o'clock with the oral histories. And then after that, we're going to do what we've been doing for the past 2 years, which is a debrief of the week, where, we'll get your all's feedback on what went right, what went wrong. And of course, don't hold off on that feedback till the very end. If something needs to happen, like Iris, you just mentioned, you're like, you want me to give a lecture for a half hour? Or are you out of your mind? It's like, no, it's going to be for an hour or however long it needs to be. So, and that's again, one thing is that we try to, move with where the program takes us. And so, again, the schedule is an aspirational schedule, meaning we're gonna try to stick with it. But as things happen, we'll change with it as the rain starts flying or whatever happens, or conversations start going, so. But any questions or anything I got wrong in this, Chris?
No, it's all right. I would build on what you were saying about the schedule. The same goes for the groupings, like if you all decide before we get out there that you want to switch groups around, let me know, or on Tuesday at lunch, you're like, I want to work with this person, just let me know. We're very flexible. There's obviously things within the schedule that we like have pre-scheduled out with a different department, but for all the internal stuff, like we'll get into discussions, bleed over, something will be shorter, something will be longer, and that's totally okay. And that's lots of questions. Matt says the only bad question is the question not asked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our staff love to answer questions, even if you think it's silly. There's no such thing as a stupid question.
And yeah, definitely with that, asking, knowing why you're doing what you're doing is absolutely essential, especially with archaeology. One thing y'all quickly realize, and I've realized from being here before, is that archaeology is essentially a destructive science. I mean, with survey, like for example, Dennis will talk about this, we try to mitigate that by reburying artifacts, but it's why we record so much. We, have like 5 different ways to record the artifacts before they go into the bag, and record all the soil, take photos, opening and closing photos of every layer. It's because once we excavate something out of the ground, we can't put it back. And if an artifact, a cut nail gets separated from its original bag and we don't know where it comes from, the only value for that cut nail is we know when it was manufactured and it came from somewhere on the site. But it's a little orphan and it's very sad. So if you're doing something you don't understand, like, Corey tells you to do a cleaning pass and you're like, well, when I clean out of like my sump pump at home, I take a shovel to it, and you take a shovel to the unit. Well, a cleaning pass is a very gentle pass with a trowel where you barely just scrape off a little bit for the photo. So always ask questions, like we get into the zone and we'll be talking about, Dennis will be talking about, well, I'm using GIS technology to do the MDS survey, and there's GPS technology in these iPads. And you're like, how many freaking acronyms can you use in this iPad? Ask what that is, because it's just everyday talk for us. But it's something you'll soon learn. We want to share everything, because the more you know, the more you're interested, the more you're able to be part of the overall team environment. So absolutely ask questions. And, when you're at the site, one thing that, one reason we do the artifact handling session first thing is because when you're at the site, pretty much from the get-go, you're going to be starting to find artifacts. And knowing the broad range of artifacts that are out there helps with that process. So definitely when that's like the super basic part of doing archaeology is you find something, ask what it is. You shouldn't have a single artifact in your hand that you don't know what it is. I mean, it might be that you already know because you're an expert in artifacts, but if you aren't, you will be by the end of this week, and at least in terms of the kinds of artifacts we're finding. And staff have lots of experience. They've seen so much here. So definitely take advantage of their knowledge and sharing that. So anybody have any questions so far? What was that?
We have 2 house tours scheduled. Obviously, one's for the second group. We have one today at the end of the day, and you'll note that's a different department that gives that, and you'll notice there are different perspectives on how we give tours versus interpreters who give tours. So kind of going like secret shoppers almost, like.
We love to hear what you all hear from the guides. So sometimes it helps us go to the guides directly, and be like, hey, these things aren't being talked about. What's up? It's like, well, we need to work on that person. Keep on working. So
yeah, and we all have different like source document. Like sometimes things can be documentary focused. First, we will sometimes focus on broken piece of pottery and stuff. So but it all kind of does work together. Ask good questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing, for you all is, we absolutely request that no one be a hero. You know, there's no reason to pick up that 20 pound bucket if you've got elbow problems or whatever, you know, save yourself for another day. And we want to have everybody be able to walk away at the end of the day. So if you need to drink water, drink water. If you need to sit down, sit down. You know, it's, safety is the most important thing. If everybody can leave this week feeling better than they started, that's where we're at. And another part of that, you know, physical safety is also just, you know, emotional and mental safety. We're going to be talking about a lot of hard topics. We're at a space that is, you know, absolutely beautiful with the wildlife, the trees, but it's also a space of enslavement. It's a space of pain. It's a space where families were separated and sold and people were held against their will. And it's something that, for different people, that spirit strikes them differently. And we, you know, want you to be able to move however you need to move with those feelings. So if you need to take a break, you know, you've gone through half of mere distinction of color and it's just too much for you, just let us know and you'll give you the space to walk away and find your own space. There's definitely, tours that we're gonna do that, are triggering, that triggered folks in the past. We'll let you know about that. So when we're walking into the or before you know, have you do the train station tour, that is a space that was segregated in the early to mid 20th century. And today we restored it as a segregated space based on conversations we had with the local community, including the Orange County African American Historical Society. But it's one that we wouldn't want you to just walk in without expecting to see that. And so you know, if there are spaces that you don't want to go in or you feel like you shouldn't, by all means, you know yourselves. And also in that same line, you know, we want to be respectful for you. We ask you to be respectful to each other, take care of each other. If you notice somebody needs something, help them. If you notice that someone is feeling contemplative, you know, give them space. You know, it's always important to recognize the only group that we don't require, and it sounds bizarre, that we don't require you to be respectful of is visitors. If when they come and they're not respectful, you know, just walk away. You're under no obligation to address questions that visitors might think are, you know, trying to be humorous, you know, and being, you know, using terminology that is disrespectful. The customer is not always right, and that's something we live by for both staff and certainly for expeditioners as well. So, and if any of y'all have been in the historic trades with interpreting to the public, you know what I mean. So it's, people think that it's time to ask all kinds of questions. So, and yeah, learned all kinds of things from that. But yeah, anything that people are thinking right now. Yeah.
Very random, sorry.
My bad.
Very random, my name is misspelled on the paper, I'll just say it.
Okay.
Yeah, just in case, like, I didn't want this to happen on like another document, so I'll.
Yeah. And you're Jewel.
Yeah,
How do you
it's
spell?
Champton and Joe, it's spelled correctly here, so I think it was just like, it happens to me all the way, so.
Okay.
It's probably a typo, but I was just.
All right. No, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that absolutely.
Yeah.
And that ties into something, all of you receive T-shirts and name tags. We do make mistakes.
No, it's okay.
No, I just point out, please reach out just like you just did, because we don't want you to be unhappy or have your name spelled wrong or your pronouns be incorrect if they're pronouns on something. So just please reach out if the T-shirt's the wrong size. We have plenty to replace it and give you a new one that fits. We just want you to be happy.
Yeah, you all, you know, whether you feel it now or not, you're part of a family, you're part of a group, you're part of a team. And with that, you know, it's, you know, not like going to somebody's house that you don't know and the potatoes are burned and the spinach is, or the, you know, the zucchini isn't cooked. and they ask how dinner is, you're like, oh, it's delicious, it's fine, tell us, it's like, my God, do you know how to cook zucchini? Just let us know, that's what these programs are all about, that helps us grow, that really does.
Is there a photography policy?
There, with us, there is, in the house, there's no flash photography. And thank you for mentioning the photography, we do photos, and we take photos, and we're gonna share those with everyone on Flickr. If anyone doesn't wanna be photographed, let us know, and we'll avoid doing the photographs. We had one DEA agent who, specifically requested that he could not be in any photos, and, we absolutely, went with his need for that, and he sent everybody to his DEA again, which was pretty wild, so. But, anyways, yeah, and when you do photograph, let people know, like, if I'm photographing you all, and I just did this, I'm such a hypocrite. I took pictures of y'all while y'all were talking. So anytime you do a photo, do as I say, not as I do, that old expression, just let everybody know, hey, everybody, gonna get your picture, and then when I get your picture, I'll be obnoxious, I'll be like, all right, act natural, go back to work. So, but yeah, that's, a lot behind the photography.
Artifact photography, is that discouraged, encouraged, like, suppose you find a cool ceramic, and you're like, oh, I want to show my colleague this, is that okay? or
That's
no?
absolutely fine,
Okay.
to photograph. The only area and we'll talk about this at the burial ground. The only place we don't allow photography is at the burial ground, and that's because and we'll talk about this, the NBC, the Memorialization Committee, is just in the beginning of starting the design process for that, and we'll talk about how that space is going to be represented. So, yeah.
Yeah, Matt snuck up on me in the middle of the field many of times. I won't see him coming, and I'll turn around and there's a guy taking my picture.
Let's look at the pictures usually, so yeah, I'm going to delete that one. Cool. Anything else? All right. Well, what we'll do now is I'll show you all the space here, and super excited to show you this space. And then Liz is gonna get things set up for the article session. So if you need the bathroom, well, we have the open house. Hopefully the back ramp will be open and that'll be all ready to go. But if you need a bathroom, there's one upstairs and I can show you that. But yeah, why don't you all come on over here? You all can you can leave your things where they are. There'll probably be about 10 of you, and you'll all be sitting around the table here for the artifact handling session. But let's come on over here. I'll show you the space. You want to grab the bar back room?
Yes. Can you shut this off?
Yep.